Time now for Drawing a Blank. So Donovan Mitchell went off yesterday, dropping 57 points. That is the third most ever in a playoff game, behind Elgin Baylor and Michael Jordan years ago. So why couldn't he celebrate? Well, his Jazz lost in overtime, due in part to Donovan's 8-second violation. So, Nick, Donovan Mitchell's performance in a losing effort was blank.
Bittersweet because of exactly what you alluded to. He'd have been far happier finishing with 45, which is how much he had when he had the, you don't want to kill him for it, but the inexplicable just mental lapse of losing track of the clock. In this moment, the Jazz are massive favorites. They're up 4 with 1:40 left with the ball. If they score on this possession, they're going to win. And so the history books will remember this fondly, but in a game the Jazz absolutely had to steal if they were going to have a chance to win this series, Broussard. I think for him it's a little bittersweet because of that, not just the loss, but that specific error right there.
I'm giving the young man plenty of grace on this when I say the word Jordan-esque. All right? The first thing I thought of, and you're right, Nick, that 8-second violation is horrible, and it's just an unfortunate situation. However, when I saw this game, the first thing that came to my mind was he's doing what Michael Jordan did. When Jordan scored 63 against the Celtics, Jordan was 23 years old. 3 years. Jordan went into double overtime with the Celtics. Mitchell went into overtime. Mitchell went into overtime.
And then there's another thing.
And both of them lost. And so it was a great performance in a loss. It reminded me of what Jordan did against the Celtics.
Now go ahead, Wild.
Jenna, I went with, there we go. I went with almost iconic. It's, you know, third most all time, but there was no sort of iconic play. You know, the 8-second violation is not going to be iconic, like Jordan crossing up Bird. You needed one really iconic play to get this one cemented, not in the history books, but on your TV, and we didn't really get it. This is the iconic play that everyone's like, oh, 63 points. This is the moment that you'll see on every Michael Jordan highlight. So we didn't quite get that from Donovan, so I went almost iconic.
Okay. All right, you know who was in that grainy video there? Probably Danny Ainge. On to Jason Tatum now, who finished with a team-high 32 points
dropped on his head, Jenna.
In the win
We don't want you to remind him of that.
Because he wasn't guarding Jordan, Nick. Put him on Jordan, you would have seen what happened.
Nobody was guarding Jordan.
Nobody happier than Boston. Nobody happier than Boston winning than Kevin Wildes, who happens to be from Connecticut. But, Nick, Tatum's performance yesterday was blank. Man, I ruined that joke.
A career best. I think literally and figuratively. I mean, it's his career playoff high. You also could argue it was, all things considered, the best all-around game of his career. He was excellent on both ends. He topped his previous career playoff high, came in Game 1 against Philly 2 years ago, which was 28. And then he gives you 32. He gives you great defense. He was superb. He was in a game with Joel Embiid on the other side. He was the best player on the court. And that's what they're going to need from Jason Tatum, not just in this round, but particularly in the next round against Toronto. So all the credit in the world to Jason Tatum. I thought it was, you could argue, the best game he's ever played all around.
Wow.
This was a message to Nick. Jason Tatum said, I have seen your tears, Nick, right? What is he, 5th, 6th tier in the NBA or something like that?
Third tier.
Third tier. Message. The message is put some freaking respect on his name. This kid played tremendously, as you said. He played bigger, not only better, but bigger than Joel Embiid.
Let me, real quick, when we're talking about my tiers, and this is a great example, and folks get all mad about where Tatum is, you know who's right alongside Tatum on that same tier, that totally disrespectful third tier of the 16th to 23rd best players in basketball? His draft classmate, Donovan Mitchell, who we just talked about, dropped 57. So let's just all pump, we can give the guy credit and not overdo it. Wildes, it's the best game of his career. That should be enough. We don't have to elevate him past. Again, Boston fans are like, oh, Nick, are you ready to admit he's the best player in his draft class? No. but he's really, really good. I think he's an excellent player, and we'll see how it plays out. It's the best game of his career yesterday, Wilds.
Well, as the captain of the tier criticism company, your tiers need more movement. That's why people get frustrated, because he does well and he's sitting still on the tier on the graphic. It's got to be like the stock market. Just move him up. Like, oh,
not a prisoner of the
0.01, green arrow up. I think people would like that. Anyways, about Tatum, I went with missing Ben Simmons. Simmons guarded him all year. He shot 31%. Now he's gone. Matisse did a decent job, but I think you really felt Simmons was Simmons' absence this time.
Jason Tatum, 15 points in the second quarter, career playoff high 32. On to today's slate of games. Plenty of high-profile players looking to lead their key teams to crucial Game 1 wins. Hey, Nick, the player you are most excited to watch today is blank.
Come on, America. It's the answer for me. It's the answer for all of you, if you're being honest. The answer is the greatest playoff performer in NBA history, who also doubles as the greatest player in NBA history, who also, we might find out soon, is the greatest actor basketball player in NBA history, LeBron James. The last time, need I remind the audience, and that's with respect to Penny Hardaway and his performance in Blue Chips, which was outstanding. But let me remind you, America, the last time we saw LeBron James play a playoff game with two non-broken hands, he dropped 51-8-8 on the 2018 Warriors. That's the last time we saw a fully functional LeBron in the postseason. I don't know if he'll go 51-8-8 tonight, but the player everyone's most excited to watch today is, of course, LeBron James, Broussard.
I am definitely excited to see LeBron. I will give you that, even though you overstated it quite a bit. However, I'm going with Dame Lillard. Dame Dollar, 51 and 9 assists over his last 3 games. Those are his averages. And the last time he saw LeBron and the Lakers, Nick, you know what he did. 48 points, 10 assists on Kobe night in the Staples Center. I want to see if he remains hot. If he remains hot, the Lakers could be in for a long series. And so Dame, I got to see if he stays hot.
A quick addition to Nick's comment. We're not going to know if LeBron's hands are healthy until after the series, Nick. So I would sort of wait until you proclaim that his hands are healthy. We have to know after the series. We'll get an update on his wrists and hands. Hey, anyways, I went with CJ. I agree Dame's going to be great. I think he's going to stay hot, but CJ's been more up and down, mostly just up on a trajectory after he broke his back. 8, 25, and 29. He gets better and better. So hopefully have a 30-point game in the big Blazers Game 1 victory over the Lakers.
All right, Blazers, Lakers, that's the late game tonight. All right, take a break. On the other side, how did the Cowboys already take a loss? We'll discuss. First things first.
This is crazy thing out here being in the bubble. I got to see this dude right after the game. He just dropped 57.